Do you think that living at the coastline is only for millionaires? Breaking news, living in Wilmington isn't just for the rich. Today, we're going to take a look at the real cost of living in Wilmington, North Carolina. The truth is, there's all kinds of economic statuses right here in Wilmington. There's several different factors you want to consider when you're looking at the cost of living compared to another place. Some of the major topics are going to be things like housing, utilities and transportation, food and groceries, as well as healthcare and education. There's a lot of other factors that can go into it, but these are the ones that I feel like we need to highlight today for our discussion. Before we jump into the content, I just wanted to introduce myself. I'm Brad Moody, local agent living in Curry Beach, North Carolina, along one of the beautiful beaches in the Wilmington area. I moved here with my family a couple of years ago, and I'm really starting to get a handle on the big categories when it comes to our budget and what it costs to live here compared to other places. And being a real estate agent, I'd love to start with one that I actually know a little something about. So let's jump into our first category, housing costs. I'm recording this as of December 2023. So last month's numbers just came in, and I wanted to share those with you as far as the housing market is concerned. As of November 2023, for Wilmington, North Carolina, the median house sold was $409,000. Compare that to last year's November 2022 numbers at $372,500. That shows an increase of just under 10%. And when it comes to rentals, we've seen small increases there as well. You could expect anywhere from $1,200 to $1,400 a month on a 2-bedroom apartment here in the area. That's up about $50 over last year. The second section that we want to take a look at is our utility budget line. The average resident in Wilmington is spending about $182 a month on their power bill. This cost is only slightly higher than the state average. And there is some good news as far as natural gas is concerned. It's down about 5% year over year from last year. However, we're still about up 11% over the national average as far as the cost of that gas. I won't even start to get into all the cable and streaming companies that you can be a part of. I think you can handle that part of your budget line. However, I did want to tell you that Spectrum and AT&T are the main service providers in our area when it comes to internet. You can get high quality internet in our area from anywhere from $50 to $80 a month, depending on how fast you want your speeds. So I took at the utility cost of living index for Wilmington, North Carolina as it compares to the rest of the US. That index is currently at 97.2. This means compared to the national average, Wilmington is a little bit cheaper on utilities than other places. Next up, transportation. If you're coming from a major metro area, public transportation may be something that's important to you. Here in Wilmington, there is public transportation provided by Wave. There's bus routes, shuttles, trolleys, and even a ferry provided by NC DOT. I think for this town, there's also adequate bike and pedestrian access all over downtown, as well as other surrounding areas. However, if you don't currently have a car, that's something that you're going to want to consider purchasing. Cars vary greatly, and I'll let you come up with your own price tag on what you need or if you already have one. Insurance is also going to be something that you're going to have to figure out, which will depend on your driving record, where you're at locally, the type of car you have. However, I do have some good news for you as far as it comes to gas prices. As of today, checking the national average, gas prices were sitting at $3.10 a gallon. In North Carolina, the average was $2.92. Here in Wilmington, it was $2.91. This is down 10 cents year over year. It's always really nice to see those gas prices going down. To get a more accurate representation of what it's going to look like comparing gas in your area to Wilmington, check out AAA's site. It does a really great job of breaking it down state by state and county by county. There's some other good news along the transportation front as well. Even though it can feel like traffic is daunting in our area at times, we actually spend less time commuting than others. The national average is about 26 minutes one way to work and home. Here in Wilmington, we're looking at just under 19 minutes. The majority, about 80%, do commute by car. However, there is a small portion that are commuting by either carpool, walking, biking, or even using ride shares like Uber and Lyft. Another section that we need to look in our budget line is food. This comes down to groceries and going out to eat. For the food and grocery cost of living index, we were at 99.9 in Wilmington compared to 100, which means it's 0.1% cheaper to get your food and groceries here compared to the rest of the nation. So I would say we're pretty mid. Here are prices of common grocery items that you'll find here in Wilmington. These are just average prices, and actually I get some of this stuff a little bit cheaper, some of it a little bit more expensive. Just kind of depends on where you end up going. The nice thing is though, when it does come to groceries, there's a variety of selections. From Aldi's and Lidl's, to Food Lion, Lowe's Foods, Harris Teeter, Trader Joe's, Whole Foods, and even big box brands. As far as dining prices go, I would say that this is a pretty average area compared to most other mid-sized towns. I actually think going out in Wilmington is pretty affordable, costing you about $15 for just a standard lunch or dinner meal. If you wanted to go out and have a nice dinner date, look to spend around $60 to $75 for a 3-course meal for the two of you. And you can always get a simple Big Mac combo for $8.99. Probably the most important thing you need to know is that all the breweries here are going to charge you about $4 to $5 for a pint. That could be drastically down from your $28 beer nights if you're up in New York. Although all of these prices can vary greatly depending on the establishment and the time of year. And if you are thinking of moving to Wilmington, North Carolina, reach out to me. My contact is in the description below. The next two are really dependent upon your family and your own current personal situations. But I think they're really important to include because they can have a big impact on your family's bottom line. First up in this section is going to be healthcare. We're pretty blessed to have a great hospital here in Wilmington. US News and World Report ranked it as one of the top in the entire state. Wilmington Health is also a huge healthcare provider specializing in primary care. There's also a really good number of quality urgent care providers that are in our area as well. Well, it's hard to give you an estimate because everybody is different. Wilmington actually does show a slightly higher cost when it comes to healthcare versus the national average. And another important factor to include is education. Depending on your familial status, this could be a really big one. First off, there are some charter schools in the area that are very high quality, such as the Cape Fear Center for Inquiry and Island Montessori. There are also high quality private school options as well. Both Cape Fear Academy and Wilmington Christian Academy rank in the top 20% in the entire state of North Carolina. However, at over $20,000 a year, this is a huge financial commitment. And I'd really urge you to take a look at the public school system before you do anything else. There's some really high quality and nationally recognized programs happening right here in our public school system. Some of the highly touted programs in the New Hanover County School District are things like the Lyceum Academy at New Hanover High School, as well as the IB program at Hoggard High School. There's a lot of high quality education happening in the public school system, also in Brunswick and Pender counties as well. As somebody who's worked in public school system before, I know I'm highly biased, but I really think you should look at the public school system here before jumping into the private school sector. The higher education here is phenomenal as well. With access to UNCW, part of the UNC system, this gives you access to incredible undergrad and graduate programs of all different levels. However, they really do specialize in marine science and oceanography. Cape Fear Community College is astounding as well. It has one of the top nursing programs in the entire state. And Brunswick Community College just got ranked the #1 again in America. Part of this is its 82% graduation and transfer rate. When it comes to education, I think you're going to be well covered in our area. So now let's take a second and look back at 2022 as it compares to 2023. Wilmington had a cost of living index at 98.1 last year. This means that compared to the national average, it was 1.9% cheaper to live in Wilmington, North Carolina. However, in 2023, the index has obviously been updated and changed. Now Wilmington's cost of living index is 101. That means, on average, it's 1% more expensive to live in Wilmington than just an average city across the US. But the largest contributor to this increase in cost of living is the housing cost. Housing cost is 13% higher here than across the national average. This accompanies the fact that there's usually a wind and hail cost that other people usually don't factor in. Wind and hail insurance is $1,000+ a month. For mine personally, it's over $4,000 a year additional expense just in insurance. Now I do live on the beach, so that does put me at a higher risk, hence the higher insurance rate. But location matters a lot, not just for your wind and hail, also for flood. If you're thinking about purchasing along the coastline, you really need to have a professional with you to walk you through all these steps. This is going to be one of the biggest ways to contribute to a lower cost of living for you when you move here. Outside of working with a professional to help manage your housing costs, here's some other tips to help you manage your cost of living when you're thinking about moving to Wilmington, North Carolina. First off, I'm sure you're already doing this, but create a budget and then make sure that you track that budget. Sometimes what we think things cost and what they actually cost are two different things. Another way is to save on your utility bill, whether it's using natural gas instead of electric when possible, or using energy efficient products, turning off lights when you're walking out of rooms, buying newer energy efficient appliances, or upgrading your thermostat to help you with your heating bill. By taking a look at energy efficiency, you'll really be able to reduce your overall cost of living. You also want to take your transportation into account. Do you need one car or two? This time, do you really need to Uber or could you just walk? Do you think you can find somewhere that's close to your work where instead of it being even a 20-minute commute, you can whittle it down to 10? Or at that point, could you even ride a bike? Making sure that you're being conscious about your transportation costs is really going to pay off for you in the long run. And of course, you know, another place that we're going to have to cut some strings is going out to eat. Even though it's highly convenient, by reducing the amount of times that you go out to eat, you'll actually save yourself a lot of money in the long run. Not only by just eating at home are you going to save money, it's actually a healthier lifestyle. Now that you're eating at home, you also want to make sure that you're reheating and re-eating those leftovers. When you're opening up your refrigerator, don't look at it as leftovers, look at it as money that could go back into your pocket. By eating those leftovers, reducing your overall food costs, you're going to put more money in your pocket and reduce your cost of living significantly. Another thing that we've done that my wife actually loves is shopping at secondhand stores. Probably her favorite store in the entire world right now is Ferry Circle. This is much cheaper than going into a regional store like Belk's and buying things off the rack. So if you do a good job of handling your housing costs, keeping your utilities in line, figuring out your transportational needs, get your food and groceries in line, as well as understanding your healthcare and educational costs, I think you're gonna have no issues at all in moving out to the beautiful coastline with me. If you got value out of this video, smash that like button for me. It does a lot for my channel and really keeps me inspired to make more videos and content just like this for you guys. And to make sure that you don't miss another video like this, click that subscribe button. I upload content just like this 3 times a week. Thank you guys for watching and comment below. Let me know what you'd like to see me cover next. Stay safe and I'll see you in the next video.